I did some reading last night, and this stuff is crazy, y'all. And this video is also for educational purposes. It's for informational purposes as well, because as I do talk about this stuff, I'm also informing the people. So that's why I say that. So this is Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, y'all. And like I said, I got a claim going on right now in federal court. And I've been telling everybody about what I got going on. And I just like to give clarity on the situation. You see what I'm saying? And it was a situation that took place where an officer came onto my property, y'all, and started banging on my doors and the windows of my home, right? Woke me up, my kids up, everything. They just had got out of school. We taking a nap. So I'm like, what the fuck? I get up. This dude is outside snatching plates off my car on my property, all types of shit, y'all. So I go outside, I'm asking him like, what are you doing here? Who called you here? And, he insists on telling me that my property is stolen. The plates on my property is stolen. And at that particular time, it was showing that I didn't own the Land Rover, in which I told him it's my property. Obviously, it's parked on my property. And I gave him all the documentation for the vehicle. That means title, proof of purchase, insurance, ID. Long story short, they still end up taking my truck out of my yard, y'all. And no, I didn't owe any payments. My truck wasn't getting repoed or anything like that. I have an auction license where I buy vehicles out of the auction, and I repair them and I resell them from time to time, y'all. And that particular situation was not an isolated incident. That stemmed from a prior case that I was fighting here in the city of South Bend, St. Joseph County, Indiana, for carrying a handgun without a license, where I was wrongfully convicted in my trial because the cop committed perjury in the trial. And his name is Hunter Allen Miller, ex-officer of the South Bend Police Department, because he has transferred to the Michigan City Police Department in the midst of me getting on his ass. And I also was convicted over impeachment due to the fact that a magistrate judge in the St. Joseph County Superior Court by the name of Jenny Pitts Maynier, this lady racially discriminated against me in court, basically telling me, based off what she read about my people in an article by Brian Stevenson of the 1619 Project, and it was titled "Slavery Gave America a Fear of Black People and a Taste for Violent Punishment." Both still defines our criminal justice system. Y'all go check that out, because this is what Jenny Pitts Maynier of the St. Joseph County Superior Court handed me during my sentencing hearing, and she quoted sections from it stating how African Americans were brought into this country in chains and in shackles on a boat and enslaved, and we're under black scrutiny, eating while black, sleeping while black, sitting in a coffee shop while black. And Jenny Pitts Maynier also stated that we are still under the black codes, y'all. Go check out what the black codes are. And all of this happened in the St. Joseph County Superior Court, Mishawaka, y'all, in which Jenny Pitts Maynier also told me that the justice system is simply not made for you people. She said, "Mr. McKenzie, it's not made for people of color." Like I said, filing complaints in and out of state court. I got to file an appeal on that matter, in which I was granted a public defender by St. Joseph County, and he worked against me in my appeal. His name is Christopher Kozlinski. And my appeal in that matter was filed 12/21 of 2022. Also, I'm filing complaints going crazy. So January 28th of 2023, the officer come on my property randomly, no emergency, no endangerment to public safety, pulls up to my property, Dakota Crimmings, starts banging on my doors, and it was an act of retaliation, long story short. And then 2 years from that date, January 28th of 2023, I filed a small claims action against Dakota Crimmings in small claims court in St. Joseph County. January 28th of 2025. You see what I'm saying? 2 years later, we hit him with the small claims suit, in which St. Joseph County Small Claims Court, Magistrate Judge Eric Tomaseski started working against me, along with defense counsel John Dorbin. They both constructed some way to dismiss my small claims action against the police officer and tried to say I wasn't the real party in interest, in which was some straight fraud upon the court type bullshit. You know, they ganged up on me and basically dismissed my claim. So in the midst of them doing that, I was already gaining knowledge on how to remove that case to federal court. And that's why we are in federal court. You got to know a little bit of this shit. I'm just going to keep it real. And I seen somebody saying like, oh, well, that doesn't pertain to us. Well, it does pertain to us, because if you're operating pro se and you want to hold these officials accountable, you see what I'm saying? Because right now where it stands at, my people, if the police do some harm to you and you don't have the funds or the knowledge to get into court or to do anything about it, you're going to be fucked. You see what I'm saying? So it's like if they take property from you unlawfully and you don't have an attorney, you don't have the money, you don't have the brains or the intelligence to get in this book and learn, hey, I can file a civil action against these people, you're going to be fucked. And this is what they are doing to people all across our country, our continent, the globe. It's a system that was created to conquer us due to the inability to obtain knowledge. You see what I'm saying? They want the people dumb. They want you to say the same shit you said. Oh, that doesn't pertain to us. But the police pull you over, beat your ass. You don't got no money to get no lawyer. Guess what? You're going to be sitting at home with fucking scrapes and bruises and knots on your head. And I'm just keeping it real, y'all. But I want to dive off into some of this. My last video, I was on Rule 4, but I think we're going to go a little deeper, y'all, because I highlighted some more stuff that I want y'all to see. We're going to step right here to Rule 11, signing pleadings, motions, and other papers, representations to the court, sanctions. And it says A, signature. Every pleading, written motion, and other paper must be signed by at least one attorney of record in the attorney's name or by a party personally if the party is unrepresented. I heard what I just said? Every pleading, written motion, and other paper must be signed by at least one attorney of record in the attorney's name or by a party personally if the party is unrepresented. So y'all got to make sure that you all are signing your pleadings, written motions, and other paper when you're submitting them to the court. The paper must state the signer's address, email address, and telephone number, y'all, unless a rule or statute specifically states otherwise. A pleading need not be verified or accompanied by an affidavit. Let's hear that again, y'all. A pleading need not be verified or accompanied by an affidavit. The court must strike an unsigned paper unless the omission is promptly corrected after being called to the attorney's or party's attention. The court must strike an unsigned paper, you see that? Unless the omission is promptly corrected after being called to the attorney's or party's attention. So again, make sure y'all signing that, because if they notify you and say, hey, you need to sign your documentation and you don't do it, guess what? The court will strike your paperwork. B, representations to the court. By presenting to the court a pleading, written motion, or other paper, whether by signing, filing, submitting, or later advocating it, an attorney or unrepresented party certifies that to the best of the person's knowledge, information, and belief formed after an inquiry reasonable under the circumstances. 1, it is not being presented for any improper purpose, such as to harass, cause unnecessary delay, or needlessly increase the cost of litigation. It's quite funny because that's what the defendants are doing in my case. Let's look at 3. The factual contentions have evidentiary support, or if specifically so identified, will likely have evidentiary support after a reasonable opportunity for further investigation or discovery. And this is also what the defendants are doing in my case, because they have no rebuttal to the factual contentions that I have presented in my case, nor do the defendants, which is Dakota Crimmings, Lieutenant Mike Ingalls, Zachary Overton, the city of South Bend, neither have evidence